This video is going to be about finding cash discounts. A cash discount is a reduction from the price due to early payment, and this can there's actually three methods for this, which we'll talk about in a second, but there's two things you need to be able to find: the credit period, okay, the time that you have to pay off your entire invoice, and then the discount period where you can take a cash discount on those goods. Now, there will be, in some of the work you do with cash discounts, there will be shipping terms. If it says shipping point, that means that the buyer pays. If it says shipping destination or destination, it means the seller pays. So really the only thing you need to pay attention to is if it says shipping point. That means that you need to add that price once you figured out any sort of discounts at the end. Now, all of these problems are going to have terms of sale, and it's usually that you have to find the credit period, the discount period, and then any sort of freight terms that might be involved. And when you do this, the best way to do this is to draw a timeline, and the timeline will basically just have kind of a starting and ending to your credit period, and then we'll find a discount period. So this would be your discount period. The entire thing would be your credit period. And it may not apply to these ones that I put in this video, but just remember that any trade discounts are taken before cash discounts. Okay, the three methods used for finding cash discounts are either ordinary dating, receipt of goods or ROG, or end of the month, EOM. And they all have a certain notation to them. That notation it has a number, a slash, and then another number, and it's usually a couple sets of these. And if it's a receipt of goods, it will have an ROG. If it's an EOM, or end of month, it will say that on this. The terms that you see here in this notation down at the bottom would be for ordinary dating. And what it means is that there's for the 2/10, that's 2% discount within 10 days, followed by a 1% discount within 15 days as long as it's after the 10 days. So basically days 11 through 15. And then after 15 days, you'd have to pay the N, or the net price. Alright, so if we take a look at an ordinary dating example, it says a computer is listed at $1,250. You buy on May 2nd with credit terms of $210, $115, and $30. What would you owe if you paid on May 14th? So the first thing I'm going to do is draw my timeline. Oops. Draw my timeline. Alright, and the invoice date, or the start of this credit period, would be May 2nd. And according to the terms, I have 10 days to get a 2% discount. So 10 days after May 2nd would be May 12th. So that represents my 2% discount window. Now I also have a window after 10 days, but before 15 days, or through 15 days to get a 1% discount. So by May, let's see, go up through 15, so May 12 plus 5 would be May 17th. I have a 1% window. And then anything after May 17th, I have to pay the net price. So now if I look here, I have May 14th falls not within the 2% window, but within the 1% window, right about here. So I'm going to be able to take a 1% discount on this $1,250. Now, we don't end up finding the 1%, we end up using the complement, because we're going to take our $1,250 and we're going to say that we don't pay 1%, or we do pay 99%, okay, or 0.99. And if we multiply that out, we get $1,237.50. Alright, so here's a receipt of goods example, and this is going to be a little bit different from ordinary dating because we don't end up starting our credit period until we receive the goods. It says a digital camera has a list price of $1,350. The terms of sale are $310, net $30, ROG. So that's your clue there that this is receipt of goods. The invoice is dated September 16th, and you receive the camera on September 20th. So September 20th is our ROG date. That is the beginning of our credit period, meaning that when we draw our timeline, we will have an invoice day of September 16th, but we'll have starting our credit period on our ROG date of September 20th. So now from September 20th according to the terms, I have a 3% discount within 10 days. So if I go 10 days after the 30th, I would have after the 20th, I'd have September 30th to get a 3% discount. After that time, I would have to pay the net. So according to this question, it says how much do I need to pay if you pay on September 29th? That's right before that 3% window goes up. So I'm going to actually get that 3% discount and take my $1,350 and multiply it by not 3%, but I'm actually going to multiply it by the percent I have to pay, which is 97%, the complement of 3%, and then as a decimal it's 0.97. So multiplying that out, I get $1,309.50. Okay, for the end of month method, we have to know a couple things, and that is if the invoice is dated before the 25th of the month, the cash discount can be taken through the 10th day of the next month. So if I buy it on June 5th, I have until July 10th to pay that off. If on the other hand it's dated after the 25th, this actually counts as the next month. So even though I might buy on the 25th of, say, June, it counts as July, which means that I have through the 10th of the following month after July to get my discount, or the month after next. So let's see this in action. For our end of month example, a local high school purchases new desks for several classrooms. The invoice dated October 29th has a list price of $9,100 with terms of sale as $210 EOM. How much will the school need to pay on September 30th? Now, with end of month, we don't need to worry about too much. We just have to remember those rules. If it's dated before the 25th, we have until the 10th of the next month. If it's after the 25th, we have until the 10th of the month following the next month. So if we look, we have August 29th here. So we actually have not until September 10th, but until October 10th to pay this off and get a 2% discount, which means that if we pay on the 30th, we're going to get that 2% discount. So I'm going to take my $9,100 and I'm going to multiply it by the complement of 2%, or it means I'm going to pay 98%. And when I do that, I get $8,918, which means that's how much the school is going to have to pay for their desks with that 2% discount, as long as they pay any time before October 10th.